It's one of the most divisive albums in rock history. It is Oasis' Be Here Now. And in this video, we're going to be trying to fix it by changing up the track list. So I am a fan of Be Here Now. I am. I do like the album, but I fully understand some of the hate that it gets. It does feel like just an obnoxious wall of sounds, basically. But I like that. I love rock and roll, uncompromising, energy and swagger. And it really was just a big FU to the world, but it was so much fun, and it really captured the party that Oasis were having. So it was a real honest depiction of where they were. It has some of the best melodies they've ever done, so catchy. But I understand that people were a bit disappointed because it didn't really have the emotional depth of What's the Story. It didn't have the genuine punch of Definitely Maybe to kind of tap into people's lives. It was kind of, in a way, empty rock music, mindless. But there were moments with, which I'm going to keep some of the songs. There are moments that were really do stand up to some of that stuff, and I'll get into that. But ultimately, people it just stands as kind of a disappointment because it wasn't what they wanted.
It's the sound of a bunch of guys on coke in the studio, not giving a fuck. There's no bass to it at all. I don't know what happened to that. It's all... And all the songs are really long, and all the lyrics are shit. And for every millisecond Liam is not saying a word, there's a fucking guitar riff in there, in a Wayne's World style.
Let's get into it and try to improve this album, because obviously if Be Here Now was just as iconic and just as fantastic as the first two, Oasis would probably... I don't know what would have happened. Would they have split up? I don't know, but they would have been even higher than they were at the time. I feel like Be Here Now is the album that kind of prevents people from seeing Oasis. A lot of people do see them as one of the greatest bands of all time. Some people don't, because it went downhill in their mind with this one.
At that time, we thought it was fucking great, and I still think it's great. It just wasn't Morning Glory, and I'm sick of these people going on about Definitely Maybe. Fuck Definitely Maybe. It's over, Fuck Morning Glory, it's over.
So let's get into what I'm dropping from the album. I'm dropping I Hope I Think I Know, I'm dropping Don't Go Away, and I'm dropping The Girl in the Dirty Shirt. And I'm dropping It's Getting Better Man. I just feel like all of those songs don't really go anywhere. I just not, I Hope I Think I Know is probably the best of those lot. I like It's Getting Better Man, but it's nothing. It's nothing. Like, it's rock nothing. I like it, but it genuinely is nothing, that song. The Girl in the Dirty Shirt, I think that's a mess. I think it's annoying. I don't like the melody. And the other one I'm dropping is Don't Go Away. Because I think they've got better versions of that song. And I feel like I like it more these days. I do. It's grown on me a lot, but I feel like there's better versions of that song. I feel like that should have been a B-side. So I'm dropping those songs. Sorry if there's some of your favourite songs. Basically, let me know in the comments your track listing on Be Here Now. What songs you would drop, what songs you would add, all that stuff. So let me go into it. So I'm adding songs. I've taken those songs off. Here's my new track listing. What I'll be trying to do with this version of Be Here Now is key into where Oasis were at the time, the party atmosphere, but retain that grounded feeling of the first two albums. You still want to be able to key into people's lives and for people to understand. That's what was lost with Be Here Now. People no longer felt like they could relate to Oasis. So I want to kind of mix those two worlds, not go too far in one direction, not go too far in the party direction, and also don't go too far in the grounded direction, because it wasn't where they were, but kind of marry the two. So I would still start off with, do you know what I mean? I think that's one of the best choruses they ever wrote. Oh, my people, right here, right now, do you know what I mean? That just goes round and round and round in my head. It is one of the most going round in your head choruses ever written, in my opinion. I love how it's immediately bombastic and a wall of sounds and crazy. I like the Noel Gallagher remix, but I kind of like the just uncompromising madness of the original version. It's just But it's great. I think it's great. I think it's Be Here Now working. I think it's that style of madness and cocaine fueled energy on Be Here Now working. So I'm keeping, do you know what I mean, opening the album. I'm also keeping My Big Mouth as a second track. I still think that's a great song. It's in your face, it's punchy, it's aggressive, it's arrogant, it's full of Gallagher bravado. It's them admitting that they've got big mouths, obviously. It's them admitting they don't care. It's rock star stuff. It's great. The production was a bit staticky. It could have been better. Maybe you should clean up the production, but I still enjoy listening to it. The next song is my first addition to the album, which is Flashbacks. Now, I really feel like Be Here Now needed a song like this, because lots of people, again, they don't view it as anything experimental, Be Here Now. But Flashbacks was a B-side from around this era. I don't know why it wasn't on there, because it could have had a different dimension, a bit of variety to the album, a bit more thought, a bit more depth. It's a jovial, fun, bouncy melody, but it's Noel speculating on life. I spend my time sitting on the fence with a mate of mine, trying to write the line of the story. Keys back in to where he's from. Keys back into that regular person pondering where to go in life. And it's also a nice message, because at one point in the song, Noel says, "There's nothing wrong in my world. These things, they really don't matter." I like that, because he's basically going through all the things that bother him, the uncertainty of life, trying to work things out. But then he's like, "Oh, this stuff doesn't really matter. Why am I obsessing over it?" So it's kind of a song that's just about contemplating life, but it's delivered in a really jovial, bouncy way, and a really entertaining song. Nice little shifts in melody, a good little chorus, unique edge to it. So it's, I really think Flashbacks could have added a lot to Be Here Now. And it still feels like Be Here Now as well. So, at least in the songs where they do try and go a bit outside the box, a bit quirky. And it kind of links back in a way to What's the Story. You can imagine this is kind of a bridging the gap song between What's the Story and Be Here Now in my book. I feel like it really could have benefited the album to have Flashbacks on it. If you haven't heard it, look it up. It's a great B-side, and it should have been an album track. Next is Magic Pie. I know people hate it. I know they do, but me, I've always loved it. I've always loved Magic Pie. It's an experimental song, and people were complaining that Be Here Now is too rocky and, nothing goes on it. This is experimental. This is Noel basically in a tribute to the Beatles' bizarre, mad, drug trip songs. This is basically it. Where else are you going to hear the line, "You see me, I've got a magic pie"? I love the absurdity of that line. And I love the hopefulness of this song. I'll have my way in my own time. I'll have my say, my star's gonna shine. I love that. It makes me feel good whenever I listen to it. And you'll notice how I've kind of moved around some songs in the track list as well. Stand By Me is next, and it's number 5 on the album. I think that's a great song to kind of go through, do you know what I mean? My Big Mouth, Flashbacks, Magic Pie to Stand By Me. Because Stand By Me is like pretty much pinnacle Oasis. And people, what they remember from Be Here Now is Stand By Me, really. When I see Liam Gallagher live, when I see Oasis, the Oasis tribute, Stand By Me always brings the place down. Because for me, Stand By Me is just as influential as Don't Look Back in Anger in the UK. People know it just as much. And I think that that's all they took away from Be Here Now. So you've got to keep that, because it's just as good as so many of those true to home anthems, that keyed into regular life that they did on the first 2 albums. Stand By Me is glorious. It's wonderful. What a song of unity. What a song of love. What a song of being there for people. What a song that captures the mundanity of life. Don't you know the cold and wind and rain don't know, they only seem to come and go away. That is one of the most beautiful little phrases that Oasis ever wrote. Talking about the weather. But, if you're British, you know that the weather comes into a lot of your conversations. The mundanity of it, the fact that it always comes and goes away, and that life always moves on, dictated by the weather. That's really important to us Brits. I don't know why, but we focus on it. And, you know, so what's the matter with you? Sing me something new. Whenever I hear that song by Liam, it hits me hard. Lovely lyric that pulls at your heartstrings. And it's a great explosion bridge heading into this monumental chorus. Stand By Me is fantastic. I don't care about the length. People complain about the length. It's fantastic. They can get away with it. Stand By Me is awesome, and it would still be on the album. Number 6 on the album is I Got the Fever, which is a Be Here Now B-side. Again, I don't know the times that these were written. I don't know if they were written for Be Here Now or they just ended up Be Here Now B-sides. But I Got the Fever is great. It's a menacing, spiteful track with a great spitting vocal by Liam Gallagher. It's got the pace and the intensity of songs from Definitely Maybe, where they were still grounded, gritty, you know, playing in a club rock band. It's got that, I Got the Fever, and it's a great Liam delivery. And, you know, the chorus turns into a more hopeful, upbeat tone. So this, you know, this is ideal Oasis. I don't know what went through their mind to not include this. You know, this is better than I Hope I Think I Know, clearly. You know, it's got the darkness of Oasis that people were missing. The uncompromising people's band style of Oasis. And I know, again, you know, they weren't that anymore. But, you know, if you could still write that stuff, you should have it on an album, because you want to show the people, yes, we're not still playing in those clubs, we're not still that, but we can still give you that experience. So if you notice on this album, I'm trying to mix where they were with what they were. Number 7 on the album is Fade In, Fade Out. I feel that's one of the strongest moments of Be Here Now. I would keep it on the album. I love the kind of odd guitar melody at the start. Kind of gives it like a Wild West outlaw feel. And Liam's vocal delivery, I think, is one of the best in Oasis history. Like, Get on the Roller Coaster as it comes in. The Fair's in Town Today. I love it. It hits me with that. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best, one of the perfect Liam Gallagher deliveries. This is one of the most underrated Oasis songs of all time, because no one talks about Fade In, Fade Out. But I actually think it's quite experimental while still being what Be Here Now was. It's still unapologetic rock, but it's got this weird, menacing darkness and Wild West feel going throughout it. Number 8 on the album is Going Nowhere. Now, look up Going Nowhere, because that is a glorious B-side. You know, and I feel like it's a song to put on here to show that Oasis hadn't lost what they were. You know, it's such a good song at keying into the loneliness, the desperation, the sadness, the mundanity of regular life, the wishing away of your life that lots of people end up suffering with, you know, as a regular person. It's that. And it's got some great strings, a great sound to it. And I feel like it would give Be Here Now much needed variety, a much needed emotional depth, a much needed honesty from Noel Gallagher. And I feel like it's a good song to mix with kind of what they were doing, like stuff like, do you know what I mean? Like crazy, in your face, you know, fame, mental songs, but still going back to Going Nowhere, where they're realizing, you know, it doesn't satisfy, and they're still keying into that desperation of life and yearning. That was needed. There wasn't much yearning. There wasn't much what Oasis were famous for on Be Here Now. You know, and it frustrates me when Noel says that he didn't write songs like that because that's not where they were anymore. But then suddenly on Heathen Chemistry, he deliberately went back to it just because fans weren't satisfied. You know, so he immediately went back to it. So you might as well have done it anyway, mate. Going Nowhere really hits you emotionally, keys into insecurities. It's a great, honest song. Next song is Be Here Now, just an explosion of fantastic rock and roll fun. A bundle of fun this song is. You know, Liam sounds fantastic, the melody's awesome. It's just having fun. That's, you know, the best of Be Here Now is the song Be Here Now.
Wash your face in the morning sun and flash your back the song that I'm singing. Touchdown bass living on the run. I'll make no sweat of the hole that you're digging, yeah.
Hoving is a great example of what Oasis can be at lifting your spirits and having you just belt out those vocals in the middle of a massive field. This is like perfect, and I'm so grateful that Liam Gallagher is playing this again, because it was made for that, made to be played live. So Be Here Now would stay. Number 10 is the song The Fame, which I actually think is a really interesting B-side, which should have been on Be Here Now, because it's relevant to where they were, but it also sounds a bit like where they used to be, because it's a song about the pitfalls of fame. It's a song about, you know, phony celebrity friends and phony showbiz aura, you know. So I think it'd be interesting to have a song like Going Nowhere on the album, where Noel says the lines like he wants to be a millionaire, he wants to have a car, etc., and then have Fame, which is realizing that those things might not necessarily satisfy. It'd be great to have that meeting of the worlds on Be Here Now, because it would show some actual deliberation and actual self-assessment by Oasis. I love the lyric, and you may laugh as you're sitting there sipping your champagne, and then I think it's, and we may laugh as you're taking your cocaine or something like that. So that's what a great little mix of what people who are famous think, and then what we think about people who are famous, and about how their life isn't actually as great as it seems. It's about that. It's about the yin and yang of fame. I think that song belonged on Be Here Now, because it was where they were, and it was an honest kind of assessment of where they were. It's jovial, it's fun, it's rocky, it's catchy. It's actually catchier than a lot of the songs they went with on Be Here Now, so why not? This should have been on there. And the 11th track on the album is Underneath the Sky, which, Underneath the Sky, is a little known song on the master plan, but I feel like it deserves to be on Be Here Now, because, and he should have kept it for Be Here Now, because it's an example of Oasis' capability with melody to not just be grand scale anthemic choruses, but still be just as catchy. You know, people criticise Be Here Now for just being choruses. This is just as catchy as anything on Be Here Now, but the only line in the chorus is Underneath the Sky again, repeated. So to nail that melody and to have it just as catchy as a massive chorus is an example of the quality of Oasis. We needed something on here of Be Here Now to remind people that subtle, you know, less intention to be stadium rock songs by Oasis they still had the capability to do them. Underneath the Sky has some wonderful little lyrics on it, such as Underneath the Sky of Red is a storyteller sleeping alone. I love that. Very poetic little line. Back when no one was writing these for fun. All we need is our lives in a suitcase. It belongs to a friend of a friend. You know, just really little colourful, fun little imagery on this song. And there is a kind of a downbeat feeling on it, but at the same time, it does feel happy in moments. But there's so much intimacy to this song, but it's still going to be belted out. Like, I love Underneath the Sky. I think it would give Be Here Now a little bit of a, still rocky, but kind of a quieter in between, and I love it. I think it should have been on this album. I'm actually adding a track to Be Here Now, so my version has 12 tracks, and you can imagine what the final track is, because I haven't mentioned it yet. All Around the World. Now, All Around the World on the original Be Here Now was for some reason before It's Getting Better Man. Why would you want this mental, long, never-ending story of a song, and then you've got this nonsense little rock song? That was a bad track placing. All Around the World should be last. I'm a defender of All Around the World. I know Noel doesn't like it. I know a lot of people don't like it. What they don't realise is he actually wrote this way years ago. So it's not a product of Be Here Now. So it's, you know, I mean, the length of it is a product of Be Here Now, I presume. But, you know, the melody and the style of it and the ideas and the lyrics were way before Be Here Now. So I don't think it should be tarred with the brush. of Be Here Now, and I actually think it's where they literally do that Beatles Hey Jude thing, you know, that massive Beatles track, Justice. It just fills me with happiness because it's just, there's nothing but positivity on it, is there? All around the world, you've got to spread the word, tell them what you've heard, we're going to make a better day. That's just nice, you know, and the whole track is nice to me. Was it over long? Maybe, but I feel like the chorus is so strong. The melody of the chorus is so strong. I love hearing it over and over again. I don't really get tired of the song.
It's all around the world. You gotta spread the word. And so once you heard, we're gonna make a better day. And all around the world, you gotta spread the word. And so once you heard, you know it's gonna be okay.
It was Oasis at their peak, writing that feel-good anthem, spiritual anthem. It was their chance to be as big as the Beatles. You know, I know they weren't, but that for a moment in time, they were nearly. You know, they were nearly getting to the point, you know, maybe they believed at this point they could get as big as the Beatles. They were the biggest band in the world for a short time. You know, we need to give Oasis their due, so give them this crazy, bombastic, unapologetically cheesy song. Give them that, because they deserve it. So that is my version of Be Here Now. Let me know what your track listing would be of Be Here Now. Let me know what you would omit, what you would take out and change from the original track listing, what your final track listing would be. Let me know what you think of mine. This could be a really, really good discussion in the comments below. So let's do it. Let's reshape one of Oasis' most divisive albums. Let me know what you would have done. But thanks for watching, everyone, and please consider subscribing if you are a big Oasis and British rock fan. And I will see you guys in the next video, as you were.